macOS Big Sur was a major update that not only brought tons of under-the-hood changes to the Mac, but it also introduced the most obvious layer of iOSification that we've seen on the Mac thus far. But my question is, how does macOS Big Sur hold up over the long term? In this episode of Back to the Mac, we're revisiting the top macOS Big Sur features. But first, a word from our sponsor. Clean My Mac X is an all-in-one utility that takes care of your Mac's health. It's a real-time macOS cleaner, performance monitor, malware remover, and so much more. Clean My Mac X makes it super easy to identify and remove gigabytes of hidden junk and instantly visualize your disk space with the Space Lens module. Clean My Mac X keeps your Mac running at top speed. It helps manage apps, keeps the ones that you need up to date, and removes unnecessary apps. It can also free up RAM and run maintenance scripts to keep your Mac running fast. Clean My Mac X is available on the Mac App Store and on MacPaw's website. It's perfect for macOS Big Sur, and it gets an updated dock icon. Click the link in the description to download Clean My Mac X today and prepare your Mac for macOS Big Sur. So it wouldn't be a Back to the Mac episode without a giveaway, and I am giving away the Slim X1 Bluetooth keyboard from Saatchi. If you haven't already seen my full review, be sure to check that out, and stay tuned to the end of this video where I show you how to win this Slim X1 from Saatchi. It's super simple and super easy. It's hard to discuss macOS Big Sur without talking about what is arguably the biggest advancement in personal computing in years. And of course, I am talking about Apple Silicon. Yes, Apple's M1 powered Macs powered by macOS Big Sur have revitalized the Mac in numerous ways. And Big Sur is the first version of macOS that's compatible with Apple Silicon. And it brings incredible performance and efficiency to Apple's laptop lineup of the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro in a way that we've never really seen before. And with upcoming Macs like the refreshed iMac and the 16-inch MacBook Pro, performance gains should be even more incredible. So really, when you think about the amount of work that Apple must have put into macOS Big Sur's development, not only to make sure it was okay for Intel platforms, but also Apple Silicon, it really starts to put into perspective just how huge of an accomplishment the macOS Big Sur really is. macOS Big Sur is not without its fair share of bugs and strange glitches, but considering that it's running on first generation Apple Silicon chips, I've been really impressed by its overall reliability and stability. Every now and then I'll run into a weird glitch with my Mac's display or an occasional kernel panic, but at this point in the life cycle, I find it actually much more reliable than macOS Catalina. Now, I can't really speak to the Intel part of the equation because I've gotten rid of all my Intel Macs and really have just went all in on Apple Silicon. And one of the benefits of that vertical integration is no doubt stability. macOS Big Sur's design more or less involved the iOSification of the look and feel of Apple's desktop OS, and while it was a little unsettling in the beginning, I'm largely used to it by now. Two of the most obvious changes involve the iOS-like rounded rectangle icon style and the rounded edges around Finder windows. Those things are things that kind of were jarring at first, but I've gotten largely used to them, and I actually kind of like them. The menu bar and dock get changes as well, with the menu bar gaining a slightly taller stature and translucent appearance that allows the background wallpaper to bleed from edge to edge. And again, I do like this feature. Now, the macOS dock is also translucent and now slightly floats near the bottom of the screen, reinforcing that edge-to-edge wallpaper concept. Pull-down menus are now larger with more space between each selection, and that's a design that would work pretty well with touch input if the Mac ever ends up with a touchscreen model. And Finder windows get a much cleaner look with less chrome, adopting that translucency on the new full height sidebars, which look absolutely wonderful in my opinion. Now, along with these visual design changes are the addition of new sounds, and I have to be honest and say that I didn't much like the updated sounds initially, but they have slowly grown on me over time. Of course, the triumphant return of the classic startup chime was much appreciated. but I do wish it was possible to easily customize that startup sound. Lastly, on the visual front, there are tons of new wallpaper options available in Big Sur, including new dynamic wallpaper options that automatically switch between light and dark modes throughout the day. And although the new wallpaper is well done, there aren't enough abstract options for my personal liking, and I've largely found myself just sticking with the default Big Sur wallpaper. Up until macOS Big Sur, I'd been relying on Google's Chrome browser for 4K support in YouTube, and that's a feature that's an absolute must-have for me, as you might imagine. Now, with macOS Big Sur, Apple finally introduced support for VP9 decoding, and thus proper 4K HDR support in YouTube. 4K YouTube support has more or less worked flawlessly for me since Big Sur was released, and as a result, I usually don't bother installing Google Chrome, which is a great thing. Now, Apple also added new features to Safari, like an updated and customizable start page, and it's a small addition, but I love being able to change the background for new Safari start pages, along with the ability to hide or show sections like favorites, iCloud tabs, reading list, etc. A Safari addition in Big Sur that I've thoroughly enjoyed but sort of flew under the radar are the tab preview popovers. Simply hovering over a tab in Safari causes a small preview of that tab to display so that you can get a better idea of what you'll find before even opening the tab fully. Now, that coupled with the ability to view more tabs at once is very useful for someone like me who usually has a ridiculous amount of open tabs at once. Web page translation is another addition in Safari that I formerly used Chrome for, and this feature still has a lot of room to grow, but it's very promising. It's quite limited as far as the number of languages that are supported right now, but hopefully in the future this will grow and expand in its language support. Control Center is an addition of macOS that will help new users find important settings within a common area. Like Control Center on iOS, you'll find quick toggles for things like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, volume and display brightness, and more. Seasoned Mac users, however, will often choose to skip Control Center and go straight to the menu bar. That's because menu bar shortcuts are sometimes more efficient and require less clicks. For example, if I wanted to change the sound output via Control Center, I'd have to click on the Control Center icon in the menu bar, click on Sound, and then click the Sound Output option. But if I were to access sound from the menu bar, I'd only have to click once more to select the desired sound output. So you can see where it's a little bit more efficient to bypass Control Center in some cases. Now, Control Center could have been a lot better in macOS if Apple would have made an allowance for more customization options. The lack of a simple HomeKit shortcut, for instance, is a glaring omission, as is the lack of features like a timer or screen capture, etc. In other words, Control Center has more room to grow in the next version of macOS. New features like grouped and interactive notifications are useful additions to macOS's notification center, but the biggest change is the new unified interface, and this new interface combines both notifications and widgets within the same general view. Now, in macOS Big Sur, widgets include both redesigned first-party widgets for apps like Stocks and Calendar, along with the addition of support for third-party widgets. And like widgets on iOS and iPadOS, users now have the ability to edit widget data and select between a small, medium, and large version. While the unified notification/widget setup is a change for the better, I still almost never use widgets due to the fact that they are sort of out of sight, out of mind. If widgets can live on the home screen on a 4.7-inch iPhone, then why shouldn't they live on the desktop of a 13-inch MacBook Pro display? To me, it just makes sense. Safari in macOS Big Sur comes bundled with several privacy enhancements, such as the ability to detect passwords compromised by known data leaks. More prominent is a new privacy feature that allows you to analyze each website that you visit to reveal the number of trackers prevented from profiling you. Big Sur also includes more verbose privacy reporting that allows you to see the most contacted trackers and trackers based on websites and websites based on trackers. Like the iOS App Store, the Mac App Store includes a new privacy report feature. App privacy reveals how data may be collected and linked to your identity, and data parameters can include things like location, contact info, user content, identifiers, usage data, etc. Along with these enhancements, iOS 14 introduced some additional privacy features for iPhone users, such as the ability to provide your approximate location to apps that request such data instead of your precise location. And that really was one of the main privacy-centric features that I felt was missing in macOS Big Sur. I hope that Apple provides this ability in macOS 12. Thanks to iCloud Messages, all of my messages stay in sync across all my devices, making it super easy to pick up a conversation at any time on my Mac. But up until macOS Big Sur, using the actual Messages app on the Mac felt like a third-rate experience because it lacked all the features found on the iPhone and the iPad. With Big Sur's newly built Messages app, it finally gains parity with its iOS counterpart, bringing features like GIF support, message effects, Memoji stickers, Memoji editor, and the ability to share your name and photo. Those are just a few, but Messages for Mac also gains new features that debuted with the release of iOS 14, such as the ability to pin message threads, inline replies, group names and photos, and more. Just like the Messages app, the Maps app gains a complete top-to-bottom makeover that yields a first-class app experience. Along with support for guides, which helps you to find places to eat, shop, and explore using curated lists from reputable travel sources and brands, users can also create their own guides based on their own recommended stops. But what makes the Maps app for macOS Big Sur most impressive is its support for Look Around, another feature that debuted on the iPhone with iOS 14. Now, Look Around is basically Apple's answer to Google Street View, lending users a foot-on-the-ground first-person view around town. And let me tell you, I was impressed by how well Look Around performed and how smooth it was when navigating around supported cities when compared to Google Street View. But unfortunately, Look Around is still very limited and only available in a few metro areas, so it still has a long way to go before it becomes a true Street View competitor. Other key additions are support for indoor maps like malls and airports and cycling routes. Like Look Around, cycling routes are limited to just a few areas, but by and large, the Maps app is a huge improvement over its predecessor. After the impressive redesign of the Photos app for iOS and iPadOS with iOS 13, the Mac gains significant upgrades to the Photos app with macOS Big Sur. The updates include expanded video editing features that allow you to do things like adjust crop, rotate videos, flip videos, change the aspect ratio, change filters, adjust filter strength and intensity, and all sorts of other parameters like exposure, white balance, noise reduction, sharpen, vignette, and more. And what's even more impressive is that all these editing features are non-destructive, so you can always roll back a change that you regret making. An improved retouch tool in the Photos app utilizes machine learning, which is enhanced by means of the ML capabilities of the Apple M1 chip. The retouch tool uses advanced machine learning to quickly remove blemishes, dust, and other undesirable foreign objects on your media content. Now, Photos for Big Sur also includes the ability to adjust the intensity of portrait lighting effects and the depth of field for photos originating on the iPhone. You can also alter the type of portrait lighting effects on the fly. Needless to say, the Photos app update is a great update for those that like to tinker with video that was maybe perhaps originally shot on iPhone right there on the Mac. macOS Big Sur is a solid release for several reasons. Number one, it's the first Mac operating system that's compatible with Apple Silicon. Number two, it cements the iOSification of the Mac more than previous versions of macOS. And number three, it brings feature parity with several key stock iOS apps like Messages, Maps, and Photos. But perhaps most importantly, I find this release to be relatively stable and consistent. It's remarkably stable given how much has changed on both the software and hardware ends of the spectrum. So if the hardware and the software that you rely on has been updated to be compatible with macOS Big Sur, then yes, I recommend upgrading if you've been holding off until now. I couldn't necessarily say that about macOS Catalina at this time last year. So, what are your thoughts on macOS Big Sur? Let me know down below in the comments section, and thumbs up if you appreciate this video. And also, special shout out to our sponsor, MacPaw. This is Jeff with 9to5Mac. Special thanks to MacPaw, creator of Clean My Mac X, for sponsoring 9to5Mac. Clean My Mac X is the perfect tool to keep your Mac running in tip-top shape and to get it prepared for macOS Big Sur. Along with real-time malware monitoring, you can use the handy Space Lens tool to instantly visualize and clean up your storage. Clean My Mac X is available on the Mac App Store and on MacPaw's website. Click the link in the description to download Clean My Mac X today to get your Mac ready for macOS Big Sur. So you guys probably thought I forgot about the giveaway, but no, I did not forget. So to make this super simple and super easy, all I'm asking you to do, number one, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe and leave a thumbs up if you appreciate this video. Those are not requirements for the giveaway though. To enter, basically you just need to do three things. Follow us on our Instagram page, like the post related to this video, and leave a comment on that post with your thoughts on macOS Big Sur. I'll pick someone totally at random and I'll ship this guy out to you on Wednesday, April 21st. Wish you the best.